Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. You feel alive when you don't call when you supposed to. 'Cause it keeps me on my toes. It kinda makes me want you more. I get a kick from going out when you don't want me to. Knowing you're at home all mad. I know I shouldn't feel like that. I do it, you do it, we do it all the time.
More and more people are living alone. I've been living alone for the past year, and probably many of you live alone too, because I think it's pretty unusual in this day and age to live your whole life without experiencing living alone. The Census Bureau announced that there are 26 million Americans over the age of 50 who are living alone. And this trend is happening all over the world. It's not just in America. So today we're going to talk about why so many Gen X and boomers are choosing to live this lifestyle. And if you've been living by yourself too, I'm sure you notice how it's affecting you, all this alone time. I have a feeling I'm going to surprise you with some of the findings about how living alone is affecting our health. It's pretty shocking. But I don't just like to talk theoretically. We need some actionable items because people are reporting feeling lonely and isolated more than any generation ever before. And although I can say a lot of good things about this way of living, I really like to be independent and do whatever I want without being considerate of another person, which is a lot of fun after raising a family and putting other people's needs in front of my own for 20 years. I can focus on myself, I can focus on my work, no arguments about the air conditioner, and I can basically do 100% what I feel like. But I do find myself dealing with all kinds of disasters on a daily basis, like the electricity in the apartment tripped and I was by myself in the dark in the evening. I had to call the electricity company and try to explain them what was happening in Portuguese. And I had a water break which lasted for 8 hours while I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So living alone does come with the price of having like mini panic attacks every other day. Historically, people have always lived in communities. And now the number of single person households is at the highest rates ever in history. This isn't just a small change, this is a major shift. In 1940, for instance, only 8% of all households were single person. In the year 2000, there were just 15 million Americans living alone. And now in the United States, there are 26 million Americans, boomers and Gen X, who are living alone. That is 36% of all people over 50. Baby boomers are the generation born after World War I between 1946 and 1964, and the Census Bureau projected that they would be 61 million by year 2029. And there's Gen X who were born between 1965 and 1980, and they're estimated to be around 65 million. So this is the quickest growing demographic segment in the United States, but not just in the United States. In Japan, 38% of all households are single person. In Norway and in Sweden, half of the population are living alone. And in South Korea, 61% of people over the age 50 are living by themselves. So you see where this is going. Surprisingly, and against all stereotypes, most older people choose to live alone. Studies show that people are more likely to live alone in richer countries. In other words, if people can afford it, they will choose to live alone. Gen X and boomers who were raised in the 60s are more likely to have values such as freedom and personal happiness, which might also explain why they're more likely to get a divorce. So one big reason for this solo living trend is the huge rise in divorce rates among this age group, which is called gray divorce. It turns out that divorce rates among people over 50 have more than doubled since 1990. And over 60% of the people living alone in this age group are women. And research shows that they're actually loving it. Women are happier in a life without a partner, at least more than men. Also, because women's life expectancy is at least 5 years longer than a man's, when the hubby kicks the bucket, there's a good chance that the woman will end up living alone. So what do you think? Is it better to live alone or as a couple? I prefer living together as a couple because, having experienced it, I like these little shared moments like eating together or evening conversations on the sofa. Sure, it's not always easy, it comes with its challenges, but for me, it's totally worth it. I kind of feel that when partners live apart in two different houses, it's like a parallel life with no vision of a shared future, and eventually it falls apart. At least that's how I see it. There's nothing wrong with people living alone. The problem is that at this day and age, and especially as we grow older, our social networks shrink. We don't go out that much. We order everything online. We get our entertainment online. We don't go to the office anymore, so we don't get a chance to interact with people as much as we used to. Take me, for instance. I can stay at home by myself for days on because I work from home, filming my YouTube videos, managing my properties, and then I go to the gym. But I realized that I have to be proactive about it, get out of the house and make an effort to meet with people and interact with them. And to be completely honest with you, moving abroad actually made my social life better than ever before. There are tons of expat communities here, and you can practically meet people and do something together every day of the week. All immigrants and expats left their friends and their families back home, so everyone is making an effort to connect and to meet new friends. And people are very supportive, which makes life so much easier. When you have a problem, you get the whole community brainstorming for you. You have the shared experience of 30 to 40 people putting their brains to work to help you solve the problem and to give you perspective on how to go through this. There's also hiking groups, book clubs, whatever floats your boat, as long as you make sure that you go out of the house every day and interact with people. Because it turns out that loneliness is more damaging to your health than smoking 15 cigarettes a day or drinking 6 alcoholic drinks a day. Isn't it crazy? If you're getting value from this video so far, please do me a quick favor. Just click on the like button below. It helps with the algorithm and the ranking. And why not subscribe to the channel and follow if you haven't already done so. Studies show that feeling lonely is actually worse for your health than being overweight or just sitting around all day. People who are lonely are much more likely to feel depressed and anxious, and it even increases your risk for heart problems and dementia. Basically, if you're living alone, as you're getting older, your physical and mental health are worse comparing to someone who is living with a partner, and also you get a shorter lifespan. But living alone doesn't automatically mean that you're lonely. And there's plenty of things that you can do to minimize the health risks of living by yourself. But it's not along the lines of puzzles, crosswords, and memory games, which were pushed as the best way to prevent dementia. Because it turns out that the kind of brain boost that you get from socializing with people is on a totally different level, and it fires up way more parts of your brain. Talking with other people and hanging out with strong support groups reduces your stress levels and triggers hormones that make you feel happy. And that whole process goes through brain chemicals and neurotransmitters, but I'm not going to go into how it happens. And another thing is that this whole loneliness epidemic is becoming a huge public health crisis. There's a study from Harvard and Stanford universities that claims that since millions of people will have no partner to take care of them as they age, they're going to end up relying more on nursing homes and hospitals. And you know what that means. It's going to put a lot of stress on the public health systems all over the world. So it's interesting to see what new products and services companies are trying to create to meet the needs of this new market segment. It would be crazy to ignore it because it's millions and millions of people worldwide. And they've got totally different needs than families that need family-sized products and large cars and large appliances. Startups are looking to tackle the loneliness and the isolation issue with robots. So it's pretty wild to see where things are evolving. Pet ownership has evolved 60% in the last decade, and in some countries in Asia, it's more than doubled, and that's mainly because people are living alone. On top of that, companies are starting to offer smaller packaging, smaller beauty products, smaller bread loaves for people who are living alone and don't want to waste food, and smaller compact appliances that are more suitable for smaller houses. And it's not just about products. The service and entertainment industries are also catching up to serve this crowd. Restaurants with table for one, solo travel deals, and hotels that set aside a special floor just for women traveling alone. Also, the architecture and the home design scene are waking up to the fact that more and more people are choosing to live alone, and there's a growing demand for smaller living spaces like tiny houses.
Pushing the buttons until we both lose our mind. Why can't we let ourselves play it safe just for a while?
Of course, by living by yourself, life gets more expensive in terms of paying the utility bills, the council taxes by yourself. That's why many Gen X and boomers prefer to downsize. They don't want to live anymore in a huge house that doesn't serve them anymore. So some move to a new house, and some of us take the opportunity to relocate to another country that is warmer, safer, and cheaper.
Kinda makes me want you more. I get a kick from going out when you don't want me to. Knowing you're at home, all mad. I know I shouldn't feel like that.
And at this age, we usually prefer low maintenance homes. Condos that don't require much fixing and gardening, and that you can lock them up when you're off traveling. Living alone can be a very liberating experience. You feel a kind of freedom that is very hard to experience any other time in your life, especially as a woman. And managing your finances independently is also very empowering. And that brings me to something that you've got to start thinking about, and that's the financial implications of living alone. And even if you're doing all the right things, you might be feeling that you could do even more. So go watch my other video, the 7 things that you should stop doing after 50. It's full of tips on how to upgrade your finances quickly. And I will see you again very soon. Take care.